Hi everybody, back again with another Hot Toys figure video. It's not the one that I said I was going to do next. That was going to be the Iron Man Mark 46 suit. But I got this one through in the post and I just had to do a video of this one now. You've probably seen loads of videos on this figure already because it's been out a little while, and the things that people have mentioned on those videos I will go over as well. I just want to put my 2 pennies worth in. Now, this isn't the exclusive version. The exclusive version comes with a mallet as well as the baseball bat. But I wasn't bothered about that because she never used it in the film anyway, if that I can remember. Someone probably correct me on that. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. But baseball bat was her main weapon as well as her gun. Now, when I saw pictures of this figure and I've seen a few reviews on it, I was worried about it. I was worried that I've got mine on order. Will I like it? And I was worried that I might have to sell it on because, judging from what I saw, it didn't look brilliant. But I can assure you guys that in hand, I know you hear this a hell of a lot from collectors, but it is true. In hand, this figure is much, much better than what you see on videos and on photographs, and it's namely the knee issue, which I'll come to in a minute. But a few things that could happen with this figure. I think, as I said before, I think some people have mentioned it already. There's a possibility of paint rub on the wrist bangles, as it were, because they're very, very tight and you've got to push them right up the arm. So if you're going to keep taking the hands off and keep swapping over the wrist guards, or the bangles as they probably called, there is a possibility you could rub the paint on the arms. So if you're going to resell your figure at some point, then I wouldn't suggest doing that. Same with the neck chain or the choker that says pudding on it. That is very tight when putting it on, and you really do have to push it down on the neck, so beware aware of that. There's a possibility also of maybe some staining from the clothing on the body, especially if you're going to keep posing it up and doing this, that and the other. A lot of people have complained about the leg size. To me, it's fine. Margot Robbie isn't a slim girl, but she's not a big girl either. She's perfectly proportioned, and she's got quite nice chunkier thighs, should I say. It's not chunky as in fat, it's more sort of a muscly sort of look to her legs. Maybe they could be slightly slimmer, but to me it's pretty much spot on for Margot Robbie. If you take a look back at the film and you look at her legs, you can see that she's not a stick insect. The head sculpt, absolutely phenomenal. Yes, you're limited to what sort of poses you can do with it because you only get one head sculpt, and this sort of wide laughing sort of look on her face. As everybody's mentioned on their videos, it would have been nice to have added a separate head sculpt, more of a neutral look, but I expect the reason Hot Toys have done it like this is for money values. Obviously they're going to release more Harley Quinns in the future, and it's going to be different head sculpts, and that is what's going to draw people in, I think. I'm just going to wait and probably buy separate heads at some stage. I mean, Hot Toys are releasing, as probably a lot of you already know, the prison version of Harley Quinn, which is a neutral face. To me, from what I can see of it, it doesn't look much like Margot Robbie, but this does. This is spot on. Now, the knee issue, I've rectified that by doing this. Other people have done it as well. It's all I did was just go onto eBay, typed in knee pads, 1/6 scale knee pads, and these ones are one of the ones that came up. And for Harley Quinn, they don't look out of place. It's the sort of thing that Harley Quinn would wear, and it covers up the unsightly knee joints. Now, in the pictures and in videos, the knee joints look horrible. In person, they're not as bad as what you're seeing on screen. Trust me, they are pretty, they're okay. The problem with the knee joints that you could get is with these stockings. It's quite sturdy stockings. It's not painted on. It is actually a fabric of some sort. But there's a possibility that if you keep manipulating your figure over time, it could rip. The knee joint is quite sort of sharp. I'm not going to take these knee pads off because they were a bugger to put on. But there's quite a sharp little join on the knees, and they could, if you keep bending them, cut into the fabric as well. But I don't think it's all that bad if that does happen, because Harley Quinn's a bit of a street girl. Telling from her top, she's got holes in it, and if you do get the odd sort of tear or hole in the stockings, I don't think it would look out of place on this character. It might even add to it. Another problem people have found is the boots. When you get the figure, you get like a plastic covering between the boots and the stockings that protects it, and you have to pull the boot off, which is always scary, and then pull the covering off and push the boot on, and you do get the wire mesh in here ruck up a bit. Luckily for me, it didn't happen, but it can do. What I would suggest is taking a really good grip of the leg and holding it secure, and then pushing the boot up. It does take quite a bit to get the boot on. Another little issue that some people have griped about is the belt. It's very loose, it doesn't sit right. With a little bit of manipulation, as you can see, it does sit quite nicely on the top of the pants. Obviously, if you keep moving your figure about, it is going to move about and look a little bit unsightly. Some people have actually glued the belt onto the pants. I ain't going to do that, because whenever I get glue, I tend to splash it everywhere and it just goes all over the place. So I ain't going to do that. I'm quite happy with how she is. So that's just a few little issues that you could get with this figure, but a lot of people are worried about this figure, getting it. Shall I, shan't I? There's too many issues. I think it's a great buy, and it is a great figure. I don't have any problems with it. I'm never going to mess about with it, with the poses. The jacket, which I'll show you in a little while, I'm not going to put that on her, because again, there could be a little bit of a possibility of there is like a sort of dye in some of this material, and it does tend to come off on some figures. I'm not saying it happens on all figures, but some figures it does. And if you're going to keep taking the jacket off and putting it on, that is a possibility as well. So that's just a few things to sort of think about. I know it sounds a lot, but they're only really minor things. And if you're one of these guys like me who puts the figure in the detolf, puts it in one pose and doesn't repose it or mess about with it anymore, you shouldn't have an issue with this figure. Yes, over time, as with all 1/6 scale figures, the joints will loosen, the paint will fade, especially if you've got it sunlight hitting it at some points during the day. But other than that, I don't think you've really got any worries. Another thing you could worry about a little bit is this, the hairpiece. It's quite flimsy, very, very thin. So be careful when moving the head about not to put too much strain on that, because they could snap off, as they do with the Star Wars Rey figure. That has happened before. So yeah, so that's enough about the sort of little worries and issues that you might have. We'll now take a look at the figure. So first things first, accessories. We'll start down with the base. A similar sort of base to what they're bringing out for all the Suicide Squad figures that they're doing. This little brick, a lot of people are saying, what the hell is this for? Basically, it's for the pose where she's bending slightly forward and she's resting on her baseball bat, and she puts the baseball bat on top of that. That is what it is there for, I think. She did use it in the film. I think this is the thing she threw in the window to nick the purse. As I say, it's been a while since I've seen the film, so I might be wrong on that. Moving on up, I say these are the knee pads I bought. Just move them round so you can have a look. And I think it does add to the figure, actually. It just gives it a little bit more of a rock sort of biker chicky sort of look about her. They're quite tight. I was a little bit worried when I was pushing them up that I was going to, say, rip the mesh stockings. But it covers up the knees perfectly, and it doesn't hinder the bending of the knees either. So you'd have no worries there. This is her pistol. Really love the look of this. Detail on it is excellent. As you can see, it's got love and hate on the barrel. The barrel does push out as well, so you can see the bullets inside. It's got the like Joker type emblem on the handle there. Really nice looking gun. Then you've got these two wrist bands. You've got yes on this one, and the other one's got sir. She does wear them both in the film, but I say if you're a little bit worried about paint rub and you want to keep swapping them out, then I would suggest just to put one on. And I'll show you the other side, and that's got sir on it. That purple one is the one that's really tight. She's then got the choker with pudding on it. As I said earlier, quite tight. I suppose you could heat it up with a hairdryer just to loosen it up a little bit. It's probably a really good idea to do that. Sorry about the blurriness. And then just push it straight over the neck. She's got a holster here, and as you can see, let's try and zoom in a little bit. She's got these two gun clips that you just push in. Another little issue that they could have, I'm always finding little things while I'm looking at the figure, is the buttons on the shoulder holster. Hot Toys are very renowned and well known for their little buttons falling off, and you don't get any spare in the box. So be careful of those if you're going to keep it on when putting the jacket on. They could knock off. I'm making this sound like a bad figure, but it's not. I'm just showing you, giving you ideas of potential things that could happen. But as I said, if you keep it in one pose in your detail, you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. You've then got a studded belt, rocker type belt. Again, a little bit loose, but with a little bit of manipulation, you can get it to sit okay just above the pants. And she's got quite a few tattoos. She's got I'm watching, and there's a couple of little eyes as well. I suppose you could try and pull the pants down a little bit to show them off, but I'm not really too bothered about that. And then she's got the tattoos, the Harley Quinn type tattoos on her arm. She's got like a bra underneath this top as well. Obviously you can remove all this clothing if you so wish. A little bit of unsightly elbow joint there, but the t-shirt does sort of cover it enough. Nice sort of stitching on the clothing. She also has a tattoo just underneath there as well. And on the front here it's got I can't remember what it's got on there. It's something to do with the joke. Lucky Guy, I think that's what it is. And there's a little dolphin, but I'm not going to pull that down because that means I'm going to have to move the belt and that all about. Now the baseball bat. A lot of people are asking, what is it written on this baseball bat? It is actually a nursery rhyme. A lot of people said, oh, it's the people she's killed. It isn't. It's a nursery rhyme. Let's try and zoom in a little bit. Try not to hit the wrong buttons here and switch the video off, otherwise I'll have to do it all again. But you can see there are some readable words on there. I don't know what the nursery rhyme is. I suppose if you go on the internet and Google it, it will tell you. While I've got it zoomed in, we'll take a look at the face. You can see all the detailing. It's got nice little earrings there. They're already on the figure. The pigtails do move. Some people have had problems with, especially this side. If you hold the pigtail right up in the air, it tends to drop down. Mine doesn't do that, luckily. But just look at that face sculpt. That is Margot Robbie. I defy anybody to say it isn't, but it is. It'd be interesting to see what the other head sculpt is on the prison version. How well that stacks up against this. But as I say, from what I've seen on pictures, but you can't really judge a figure on pictures and alone, it doesn't quite look right for me. But that is Margot Robbie, guys. I mean, look at the teeth on that as well. They look like real bloody teeth and gums. It is phenomenal job by Hot Toys. I really can't emphasize just how good this head sculpt is. And then you've got the earring on there as well, and you've got the more tattoos on her face, rotten on that side, and where the paint's sort of spraying down from her eyes. And she's got like a sheen, golden or wet looking sheen on the hair, which makes it a little bit more realistic. A lot of people say maybe she should have had rooted hair, but no, I don't think so. I think for this figure, sculpted hair is the best option. So she comes with 8 different hands. She's got 4 gloved and 4 ungloved. The gloved hand will always be on the left hand side. So she's got that one there for holding the bat, and that one there for holding the pistol. I'll show you the other hands. I'll show you the ungloved first. Hopefully the camera will stay in focus. This is another one she can use on her right hand side if you want to hold the bat with that hand. And you can see she's got a nice little ring there, and she's got blue and red nail polish. You've then got a relaxed type hand. Nice detailing on hands. A lot of companies don't bother with hands as much. They just give it as a generic sort of thing, but Hot Toys just got that little bit extra. Other companies are now starting to do it. That's another hand for gripping the bat, I assume. Actually, that one probably isn't a bat holding hand. Oh, I know what that is. If you want to rest the bat down in 2 hands, that one's for holding the shaft of the bat. Then we look at her gloved hands. Again, you've got an open palmed hand. Again, this could be for you resting the bat in. The usual relaxed hand. And she has a trigger hand for the left hand side as well, if you wish to show it that way. The paint is slightly rubbed on the fingernails. I don't know if that's intentional. Just trying to, if you notice with all the gloved hands, the actual fingernails, the paint on them. I've just spotted it. How the hell did I miss that? It's got evil written on it. A lot of people are probably screaming that at me at the first, so I've only just noticed that. Yeah, I could just about pick it out there. I thought it was the paint had rubbed off slightly, but it's not. It's evil. I don't... she hasn't got anything on the other hands. The other thing she comes with is this plastic handbag. This is the thing that she stole. And she smashed the window, as I say, I believe, with that brick. And it's a metal chain. You can show it on the figure. If you put it over her shoulder, it does tend to fall down and come off. So I probably won't. And she comes with a customary wrist pegs. And believe me, you probably will use these if you're going to keep swapping the hands out. I found that with this hand particularly, when I took it off, it if I show you on these, where the round bit is there, the larger round ball joint, and you see the seam there that goes along the middle, it broke in half. Luckily you can push it straight back on again, but I found that happening with that hand. And as you can see with both of the bangles on, it does push the hand up slightly. But yeah, that's Harley Quinn. So from what I've been saying, it seems like there's a lot of issues with this. It isn't. There isn't, in my eyes, a lot of issues. It's just things that could happen. I know I'm repeating myself, but if you're worried about this figure, if you've got it on pre-order and you're thinking about cancelling it because of issues that people have brought up, as I said, as long as you don't keep messing about with this figure. I don't mess about with any of my figures. I put them in a certain little pose and then I leave them. But if you're one of these guys or girls that loves reposing your figures and just doing this, that and the other with them, pulling them about, I've seen people on videos when they're doing reviews really manhandling their figures quite roughly, and it makes me cringe because there are little parts that can break off and do break off. But if you're one of the guys like me, as I said, who doesn't do that, there are no issues with this figure. Honestly, it is a really nice Harley Quinn, and Hot Toys have done a good job. I mean, a lot of people have been slagging them off. They are overpriced. There's no doubt about it. Hot Toys figures are overpriced, but they can do that because they know people will still buy them. NECA, good company, really starting to catch up with Hot Toys now. And it's reflecting in their prices because their prices are starting to go up slightly as well. But Hot Toys for me are still the leading 1/6 scale figure makers out there. Hands down, without a doubt. While I'm here, the only thing I don't really like about this is the joints in between her crutch. It's an open joint, so if you're going to pose her with her legs wide open, that is going to look very unsightly. But that is the only real thing that I don't like about this figure, honestly. The little ifs and maybes that things might happen do not bother me. I always look after my figures, and you cannot go wrong with this figure, honestly, guys. You've got nothing to worry about. And say if you really do hate those knees, then just do this. These were $9, problem solved. Instead of seeing people thinking about, oh, shall I buy this figure and put a Fison body underneath, or as they're called now, TB League. If you watched Denobi 2's video on what he did with his Harley Quinn, it doesn't quite work. The pants, the Fison bodies are slimmer than this one, so the pants are quite baggy. I suppose you could pinch them up at the back, but then that defeats the object as far as I'm concerned. The tattoos on the legs, easy enough rectified, as Denobi 2 did. He got the water transfers and just put them on. Not a problem. But I don't think the Fison body really works with this, and it's not the right proportions for Margot Robbie either. And if TB League come up with, or Fison, or blah, 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 whatever you want to call them, if they come up with a slightly chunkier female body, then maybe I would suggest you could do that. Mainly just to hide this unsightly gap there. But the stand from the front, as you can see, hides it. No problem. So yeah, there you go. That's enough of me rattling on. Now I'm going to do a 360 and an up and down look, a little bit closer on the camera, so you can see any details that you might have missed as I was rambling on and talking. Probably what a lot of you are saying is bullshit, but I don't care. I think what I'm saying is pretty true. So here we go. I should have some music playing in the background, but I don't want copyright problems. Getting this figure has made me want to get Deadshot. I'm not a big fan of the Joker. I mean, he was good in the film. A lot of people slated him off, but I thought he was a pretty good Joker. He's different. He's no Heath Ledger, but then you're never going to replace Heath Ledger as the Joker. But I think Jared Leto done a very good job as a Joker. And let's just wait and see when he gets a bigger role in a movie before we judge him. But yeah, it's just not a figure that I really want. I didn't show you the jacket, did I? What an amateur. Quick look at the jacket before we carry on over the figure. There's a wire just here either side. I'm not sure why that is, but great stitching, property of Joker. Nice jacket, but as I say, there is a possibility that the colouring that they use in the fabric could rub off on the figure. God, it sounds like I'm slating this figure off, but I'm not, honestly, guys. I'm not. I'm just trying to point out things that you need to look out for. But say if you're really careful with your figures, that should push in a little bit more, but it's a bit tight. If you're really careful with your figures, you shouldn't have an issue with this one. So look at that booty. Nice booty. You can move the pants in a little bit so you can see the cheeks of her arse sticking out if you wish to do that. I'm not going to, because you're going to see her from the front mainly, so no need to do that. Nice boots. As I say, be careful when taking them off and putting them back on. They are tight. They do need quite a push to get them back on because the hole inside the boot is quite small for the peg on the leg, but that's mainly just to make sure that they stay on there. So yeah, there you go. Harley Quinn. Great to have her in my collection. Just a little note before I finish this video. I've got a couple of figures that I'm selling off now. I'm selling off my Wolf Predator. I'm also selling off my Bat Armory and my Guardian Terminator. The reason I'm selling them is Wolf is going to be reissued and it looks much better, so I want to get him. And I'm selling off the Bat Armory and the Guardian Terminator so that I can buy the BVS Batman, because that's quite pricey. I've seen one for about 280 British pounds. It's a lot of money, I know, but it's the more I looked at that figure and videos of it, I just got to have it. It's better than the ones that I've seen in the Justice League. So as soon as I sell those off, I will be getting him. I might even splash out and get the Suicide Squad version, mainly because it's got slightly more muscle definition and it's got the wired cape. But we'll have to see nearer the time when I sell those figures off. So yeah, there you go. I hope I haven't bored you too much on this figure, and hopefully it's a few of you have got doubts about it. Maybe I've helped you out a little bit there, and it just gives you a few do's and don'ts. And until my next figure video, which it will be the Mark 46 next. As always, take care and see you guys soon.